What's going on, everyone? And we are so excited to welcome you to the very first episode of Hot Seats, where me and Steven here are going to just be debating over controversial topics all throughout the sports world. For a while now, me and Steven have really been contemplating doing this show, and for a few weeks we've been really getting it planned and organized, and I just can't express how excited we are to finally be able to bring it out to the public.
Yeah, like Grayson said, we've been just contemplating this for a long time now. I think that, this is time to bring out this show. So.
Yeah. And to kind of give you kind of a rundown of what to expect, me and Steven here, we're going to talk about 3 to 4 topics throughout the show and just give our opinions on it. And as the weeks progress, we'll have some guest speakers on here. We'll have fans can send in topics that they want us to discuss, and we'll talk about those. And this isn't going to be like a normal debate show. We aren't going to, disagree just for the satisfaction of disagreeing. We are giving our honest opinions here, and if we disagree, then we're going to try to prove our point. If we agree, then, we're just going to talk about it in depth. So to get started with our very first topic tonight, should Colin Kaepernick be an NFL starter? We all know Colin Kaepernick was one of the first people who took a knee during the national anthem as a sign of protest towards, oppression towards black people, oppression towards, people of color and of police brutality. And since doing that, he has now found himself not on an NFL roster. And in my opinion, I think that's bogus. That's horrible. I think that out of the teams in the NFL, there are a few of them who can definitely use Colin Kaepernick as an NFL starter.
Definitely. Kaepernick, at the very least, should be a good backup in the NFL for a team. But I would say there's at least 5 to 10 teams that he could be a starter on right now.
I know the number one team that comes to mind every time that I think about Colin Kaepernick is the Washington Redskins now.
Yeah.
I think that Colin Kaepernick blows Colt McCoy out of the water.
By a long shot.
Yeah, in all honesty, the fact that Colin Kaepernick isn't on an NFL roster right now, because we all know it's because of
the kneeling.
It's because of the
national anthem.
It's all because of that. And honestly, if you looked at different polls and things like that, you can see where a lot of America actually agrees with what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's all up to the NFL owners, and I think that's absolute horse crap. I just don't agree at all with that.
Another team that comes to mind when I think of, where Kaepernick could possibly play right now is definitely the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blake Bortles has been horrific this year.
Yeah.
And, this is certainly just something where it's just because of the anthem protest. Because if it had anything to do with his athletic ability, he'd 100% be on an NFL roster right now.
Yeah, no, when you look at Kaepernick, he is a big guy. He is mobile. He can throw the ball downfield. He can run. He's a good quarterback. I'm not going to say that he's some superstar by no means. He's not. But he is good enough that he could be starting or, like you said, a backup in the NFL.
And a good backup. Yeah. It's really just disgraceful that he's not on an NFL roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. So we want to know what you guys think. Be sure to comment under our videos and let us know what you think. Do you think that Colin Kaepernick should be an NFL starter? And let us know why. We also want to take the time to thank one of our GroupCast sponsors, Sharon Ammann and her Rodan & Fields business. Rodan & Fields is a skincare company, and their slogan is, if you have skin, then it's right for you. So be sure to contact Miss Sharon if you would like to purchase any type of Rodan & Fields product. Moving on, our next topic is Baker Mayfield the franchise player that the Browns needed? Steven, I'm going to let you go ahead and start.
He's 100% the franchise player that they needed. He has the right mojo about him, just the way he carries himself on and off the field. I'm personally a huge fan of his. I think what he's doing right now, he's taken a 0-win team last year into a team that's honestly, if they have a couple more wins, could compete for a playoff spot this year. They're sitting at 5-6 or 5-7, I believe, which is worlds ahead of where they were last year.
I agree with you, Steven. Baker Mayfield, he got in college, he goes to Texas Tech. He then transfers to Oklahoma. He's a walk-on.
He was a walk-on at Texas Tech as well.
Yeah, and everywhere he goes, I saw this the other. Everywhere he goes, he buys into the program, and he is 100% bought into the Browns organization. He is a Cleveland Brown, and he loves putting on the jersey every single Sunday.
And it's paid off.
Yeah, it has definitely paid off. He is that. I'm sure the Browns fans are just looking back at all of the horrific quarterbacks that they've drafted in the first round over the last 10 years, and they're like, where have you been? I mean,
yeah.
Now, one thing that I didn't like, after the Browns destroyed the Bengals, and I'm going to say destroyed, the Browns
dominated from start to
finish. Yes, they were going to win that game. His comments afterwards to Hugh Jackson. For those of you who don't know, Hugh Jackson was the Browns head coach at the beginning of the season. He then got fired and then took a job as a special assistant to the head coach for the Bengals. And afterwards, Hugh Jackson goes, tries to shake his hand, congratulate him, and Baker didn't want anything to do with it. He commented and said that, he just didn't feel like talking. He doesn't like how, Hugh Jackson leaves and goes to a team that's in their division. Now, in my opinion, I think that Baker was a little too harsh with Hugh. Hugh's a big reason as to why he is a Cleveland Brown now, and Hugh didn't ask to be fired. He was fired, and football is a business. You have to go wherever you get a job at, and the Bengals is now his job. So I do disagree with Baker on that. But as for the most part, though, Baker Mayfield is the franchise player that the Browns.
See, and I'm going to disagree with you there. I think that Baker Mayfield right now has a mentality where it's him against the world, or the Browns against the world, and I think that that's just paying dividends for the Browns. But so for me, Hugh Jackson was fired, yes. But in my opinion, you don't go to a division rival that you play twice a year. Even, if you're looking for a job, there's plenty of other vacancies he could have taken. He chose to go to the Bengals, in the same state. But I like the way Baker Mayfield handled it. He wasn't disrespectful with it. He just, it's his mentality that it's the Browns against the world, and they're not going to let anybody else, try to run there right now.
I personally, like you said, I'm all in on Baker Mayfield. He is the Browns quarterback, and on top of that, they have some great players around him. Denzel Ward on the defensive side of the ball, superstar with fourth overall pick.
And they have Myles Garrett on that D line, who is crazy good.
I'm giving the Browns 2 more years to build around. You now have your guy on offense and defense. Now it's time to build around him, get him some weapons, and Nick Chubb is their guy.
I didn't agree with them trading Carlos Hyde. I thought Carlos Hyde was a good running back that they should have kept, and he was another option for them.
Yeah.
But now it's down to Chubb and Duke Johnson. But, they can go surround him they go use their draft picks this year on a couple of really good receivers, maybe DK Metcalf, maybe David Sills from West Virginia. If they go get a good wide receiver, I think that, this offense can take the next step and become a real playoff contender and, maybe even make a deep run.
And honestly, I'm waiting for that day to happen because I would love to see.
I'm on the Browns bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Browns bandwagon. Now we want to take a minute to thank another one of our sponsors, Brandy's Hope. We want to really thank Brandy's Hope and Sam Cowart and all those guys who help out with them. Now moving on to today, the video of Kareem Hunt was released, and I know Steven is pretty upset about that because Kareem Hunt was on his fantasy team and he plays me this week. So
the only reason that my fantasy team was still alive.
But Kareem, in this video, Kareem is seen kicking a female and in this altercation with her, and he. Long story short, the Chiefs ended up releasing him today. Steven, I want to know what your stance on this is. They released Kareem Hunt. He's in his second year, and he dominated last year, and he was dominant again this year.
Yeah.
What do you think his future is like now?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think Kareem Hunt is probably one of the better running backs in the NFL, if not top 3 or 5 or whatever. I think Kareem Hunt is an absolute playmaker. What he did was absolutely horrifically wrong. It was disgusting. However, we have seen this many times, and the NFL just, kind of, I don't know what the word is, but they take different stances sometimes. I thought with Ray Rice, they came down really hard, such as they're doing with Kareem Hunt right now. But in an instance that happened in college, such with Joe Mixon, once he got to the NFL, they haven't said anything about it. So I think next year he'll sign on with a new team, and I think he can get back to his dominant stages depending on what team he signs with. But I don't agree with them releasing him this early. I think they should have waited and let them investigate it. The NFL indefinitely banned him right now. So I don't know how it's all going to play out, but I do disagree with them releasing him this early.
It's kind of, I have mixed emotions about it because a guy should never put his hands on a female, and I watched the video. The video was bad.
I have not watched the video.
He put his hands on her, and it was rough to watch. But he's a young guy, and I'm not trying to take up for what he did and try to say that because he's a young guy, he's able to do these kind of types of things. He knows it was wrong. I'm sure the very next day, right after it happened, he knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
And this video gets leaked out, and I don't know. I hope it doesn't ruin his career because he's a fun football player to watch.
Very fun to watch.
He is one of those guys who can change a game,
100%.
And if I'm other teams, I'm watching out for what the NFL says, and if they lift this ban,
I'm signing him first day.
Yeah, 100%. He is going to be signed somewhere. And I really hope that this doesn't hurt his career at all because, like I said, he's a fun guy. He's a young guy, and he's one of those people who we've really started to see this older generation of NFL players kind of get pushed out by our generation.
And Kareem Hunt, Todd Gurley, those
exactly. Those guys are coming, and the NFL is now their league. And you hate to see it for him, but I really hope that he's able to move past it and move on.
Well, I hope if nothing else, it's a learning lesson for him. I don't think that that's his true character. Now, I don't know him personally, but I do hope that he learns from this and it comes back next year or whenever he comes back, and I hope he's still the same player. So
yeah, I agree. Now I want to take the moment to thank another one of our sponsors, People's Bank. That's who I bank with, who Steven banks with, and it's also where GroupCast Sports banks. And so be sure to go over to People's Bank for all your banking needs. Now moving on to our last topic. Me and Steven are going to discuss our predictions for the NFC and the AFC Championship and for the Super Bowl. Steven, I'm going to let you start off with the NFC.
NFC. Well, right now, I think that the two top teams are the Saints and the Rams. Even though the Saints lost last night in a game that was honestly just brutal to watch. The Saints offense looked nothing like themselves, didn't move the ball hardly at all. Cowboys defense stepped up big time. But honestly, I don't see the Saints. With what I saw last night, I don't see the Saints, go into the championship. I think right now the sleeper team in the NFC is the Chicago Bears. I think that the Bears have by far the best defense in the entire NFL. What they have in Mitchell Trubisky and Jordan Howard back there in the backfield is insane. I think that they have a couple good receivers. Allen Robinson, they have a good tight end, Trey Burton. I really think that this team could make a deep run.
I agree with you 100% on the Saints. I saw an interesting tweet just last night that said, the Cowboys figured out what it takes to beat the Saints, but the Saints also now know what it takes to beat the Saints. So they're gonna work. Sean Payton and Drew Brees are going to get together and they're going to figure it out. And I don't see this team losing again. My pick for the NFC Championship, however, is the Saints and the Rams. I do like what you say about the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky, he's another one of those guys. He's one of those QBs that the Bears have found their guy. Mm-hmm. And they're a great team, but I just don't think that they have enough to take down either the Saints or the Rams.
Another thing that I didn't mention was if the Bears are going to go through the Saints, they're probably going to have to go play in the Superdome, and that's probably the hardest place in football to play right now. The Saints fans right now are bought in on everything.
That's crazy.
New Orleans is insane right now, so especially once playoffs come around, it's going to be even crazier. It's going to be really hard for somebody to go in and beat those Saints. But if there's one team that can do it other than the Rams, I definitely think it's the Bears.
I won't so bad because I'm going to be honest, I don't like the Rams. I don't.
I do. I
don't like the Rams. Really and truly, the only reason that I pulled for the Rams is because of Kadarius Hodge being on the game.
Shout out, Big Red.
But I don't like the Rams. I really wish that they would lose. I would love to see, any other NFC team go in there and try to do it, but unfortunately, I don't see anybody being able to do it. I was actually looking at the predictions the other day, and right now they've got the Bears in at a wild card and the Saints as the number 2 seed. So with that being said, if things stay the same way, then after the wild card, then you will have the Saints and the Bears playing each other in the divisional rounds, which I think would be a very, very fun game.
That would be in New Orleans as well, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So, like you said, the Bears are a great team, but I don't think that they have enough. I think that right now, the Saints and the Rams are the 2 best teams in the NFL, hands down, and I think that they're gonna end up being in the NFC.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick my NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going with the Rams, man. I think that the Rams.
Really?
Yeah, I think that honestly, I think they're the best team in football right now. I think, especially when they play at home, the Coliseums, everybody in LA is loving it. But I mean, they have one of the best offenses in all of football. They have Jared Goff to go along with Todd Gurley in the backfield. The receiving core is absurd. They have Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Kadarius Hodge is a young guy that's stepping in and making plays. But, I just think that offense is too good to be stopped right now.
Yeah. For my NFC pick, I've got the Saints going to the Super Bowl, and I'll go ahead and say it. I've got the Saints winning the Super Bowl. I think that right now, that Saints offense is just too deadly. Yeah, they had a bad game last night, but right now, I think Drew Brees is hands down the best player in football right now. I think that he's my pick for MVP. I think that when you've got him and the fact that they have Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram in the backfield,
yeah, it's correct.
It's almost unfair. It's insane. And then you have Michael Thomas on the outside. You have Traquan Smith who's stepping up big time, and it's. Like I said, I don't think that there's a team who's going to beat them anymore, and I've got the Saints winning the Super Bowl.
I'm going to argue with that because I wanted to say that last night what showed that could beat the Saints was a dominant defensive line, and the Rams have that. Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's arguably not only the best defensive player in the league, arguably probably could be the best player in the NFL.
No, yeah, he's an MVP candidate at
defensive line. Yeah. That is insane. I mean, so I do think that if something can beat the Saints, it's definitely a good defensive line, and the Rams do have that. So I'm taking the Rams.
I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening. I think that the Saints are just too good, and I think that's what's going to lead them to the Super Bowl. And I almost feel like last year Drew Brees thinks that they could have won the Super Bowl last year, but the horrible play against the Vikings that led them to the loss.
So I think that's fueling him a little bit.
I think that, and also, obviously I don't talk to Drew Brees on a daily basis, but I noticed something the other day. He threw a touchdown pass, and it was against the Bengals. Mm-hmm. They were running up the scoreboard. They weren't slowing down. They had.
What was the final of that game? Like 48-7.
I think it was like 52-7. It was absurd. But the Drew Brees, as he's walking off the sideline, he's shaking his head, and he's like, "I'm the guy. I'm the guy." And he looks at Sean Payton, and part of me wants to believe that Drew Brees is so tired of everybody talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and forgetting about Drew Brees.
Agreed.
Drew Brees he's an underrated player.
He has the most passing yards in NFL history.
I mean,
he's honestly probably got another 3 or 4 years in him.
No, 100%. And statistically, he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Statistically. Yes. I mean, if you look at all the stats that a quarterback can have, he's at the top. And if he's not at the top, then he's on pace to get to the top.
He's definitely, right now, with everybody else's careers over, he's top 5.
Yeah.
Right now. Now, he certainly could make his way up to number one with another good 3 to 4 years. I don't think he's number one right now, but I mean, he certainly, if he goes and wins a couple Super Bowls, he's definitely up there.
That's true. So, Steven has the Rams. I've got the Saints going to the Super Bowl, but we both have them playing in the NFC Championship.
I don't have the Bears and the Rams.
You have the Bears in the Rams.
Bears and the
okay.
Rams.
So you don't even have the Saints.
I don't have the Saints getting past the divisional round.
Whew, okay. Now moving on, talking about the AFC. I'm going to let you go because I feel like my prediction might shake some things up.
Okay, well, first of all, coming into this, I was 100% set on the Chiefs versus the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. But with the news today of Kareem Hunt, they don't have a dominant running back to, complement that good passing game with all their receivers. So they could very easily become very, one-dimensional as an offense, and that could kill them. So I'm changing that. I'm thinking that the Patriots are going to play the red-hot Chargers in the AFC Championship game. Now, Melvin Gordon is hurt. They said they're hoping he'll be back in 3 to 4 weeks, but he'll definitely be back for playoffs. Melvin Gordon is another MVP candidate. He's having a great year. And, with Phillip Rivers having the year he's having, if they can get Melvin Gordon back healthy, they could definitely make a deep run.
Phillip Rivers is another one of those guys that, you always forget about, but he's always there.
They're honestly, this might sound crazy to say, him and Drew Brees are honestly kind of getting that Baker mojo in them right now.
Yeah, and I like it. And I like Phillip Rivers, and I like the Chargers. However, I don't think that they're going to make it to the AFC Championship. My picks for the AFC Championship are the Texans and the Steelers.
The Texans are red hot. They've won 8 straight.
The Texans are, and they're dominating.
They're arguably the hottest team in football.
Yes, and
with the Saints losing last night.
You've got with Deshaun Watson at QB, and Lamar Miller has stepped up
big time.
He has been dominating on the ground.
And I'm going to go ahead and throw something at you. The Texans have the best receiver in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins.
100%. DeAndre Hopkins.
Before the season, I put him in top 3 with AB and Julio, but I've just been watching him this year. He's on another level. He combines the game of Antonio Brown and Julio Jones and makes it into one.
He's a big guy. He is
one of the best route runners I've ever seen.
And the game against on Monday Night Football with the Titans.
Yeah.
There was a sideline catch, a sideline pass thrown to him. He catches the ball. While he's catching the ball and falling over out of bounds, he turns over so that his shoulder hits the ground first and not the ball. Because we always know the controversy of what is a catch. And I was just looking at that and I was like, that is a smart football play.
And he's doing that in midair.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's insane.
Here's another stat for you with DeAndre Hopkins. He plays 99.5% of their snaps.
Now this is even crazier. He's missed 3 offensive snaps the whole year.
See that?
Receivers don't do that.
Exactly.
Receivers, the average NFL receiver, I looked it up, plays around 81 to 82% of the plays for the big dog. That's the top caliber receivers. And he's playing 99.5% of the snaps.
And that's insane to me. And when you have Deshaun Watson, who, last year, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, he was gonna do big things for the Texans last year.
Did he win Offensive Rookie of the Year last year?
I'm not sure.
Because he definitely should have, even though he got hurt.
Probably Alvin Kamara.
Oh yeah, maybe. Never mind. Forget that.
Probably Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, but
Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
I mean, last year was insane.
That's true.
That whole draft.
That whole class was crazy.
And then the Steelers. I think that the Steelers might be one of the best teams in football.
I just disagree. I think Big Ben has hit the point where he's just going downhill. I watched the game the other day with the Broncos, and he made one of the worst passes in NFL history. On the 1 or 2 yard line, 2nd and goal, he threw it to a defensive lineman where Antonio Brown was almost 10 yards behind him. It was one of the worst throws I've ever seen. I mean, it looked like he almost did it intentionally.
Well, I mean, every quarterback has a bad throw.
I agree they have bad throws. That was a horrific throw.
I think that you've got Juju, you've got AB, you've got James Conner, you have a great O-line.
You got some weapons there,
you
for
got
sure.
Big Ben. And
I think they have a very underrated defense as well.
no, yes, but to me, and I love saying that, I love it. The Steelers are going to beat the Patriots, and I love saying that.
Just stop.
I cannot. Oh my God!
Patriots are the best team in football right now.
No,
I'm
so ready.
They have the best coach and the best quarterback.
I'm so ready for a AFC Championship without the Patriots in it, and that's going to be this year.
When's the last time that the Patriots didn't make the AFC Championship? It's been
years.
At least 6 years.
It's been years. Yeah, I mean, they go into each year they start off knowing that they're going to be at least in the.
Well, first off, they get a bye every year.
Yeah.
So they only got to win one game to get there. But
I'm hoping and praying that, and the Texans and the Patriots have the same record right now, both sitting at 8-3.
And one thing, the Patriots are coming off 2 or 3 weeks ago a bad loss. Now, and the Texans haven't lost in 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Yep, 8 weeks. And
they started 0-3 and they've won 8 straight. You don't see that.
And I give all the credit to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is the Texans team. He is their future. He is their franchise, and he knows what it takes to win football games. And that's exactly what he's been doing, week in and week out. And I hope that the Texans make it. And a big part of that is also for Martinez Rankin.
Love Martinez Rankin.
Another Mendenhall alumni. And wouldn't it be something if the Texans and the Rams met up?
That'd be awesome for a Super Bowl.
You have two Mendenhall alumni, meeting to play in the Super Bowl. That's awesome.
I wouldn't know who to root for, honestly.
I'm rooting for the Texans because, like I said,
I'll go for the Rams.
I hate the Rams. But yeah, so I've got the Texans and the Steelers. I think that, unfortunately, the Steelers would win that game. I think that Big Ben has been there before. He knows what playoff atmosphere is like, and I think a lot of times with these predictions, we don't take that into effect on the playoff atmosphere at a football game.
It's different.
And it's a different place. And I think Big Ben, he's been there before, and he'll finally be able to get in. And it's not against the Patriots. And I think that he'll finally be able to make some noise, win that football game, and go on to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I don't see him winning the Super Bowl because I think that the Saints and Steelers will be the Super Bowl, but the Saints will come out on top.
Well, I have the Patriots winning the AFC, and I think that we have a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, which I just think would be phenomenal. But I have the Rams winning that.
Yeah, I don't see a Patriots Super Bowl this year.
Oh, Tom Brady's going to try to win 6, but I don't think he gets it.
Yeah, I think last year was the last Super Bowl that the Patriots go to with Tom Brady as their QB.
No, I disagree with that. I think that they have. I think he'll get there this year, and I think Mike could get there next year. But I think now here's another thing. How many years do you think Brady has left? I give him
no more than 3.
I give him this year and 1 or 2 more.
I think that if somehow he does make it to the Super Bowl this year and win,
I think he's done.
He's done after this year.
I think he wants to go out on the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay, so if Brady retires, does Gronk retire?
Yes.
You think so?
Gronk is Brady's son almost. Like,
it is.
Gronkowski refused any trade because he said if he got traded, he would retire because he's not playing with anybody other than Tom Brady. So, and I like that. But, I'm a Patriots fan, so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes in the next coming weeks. We're really excited about it. And now to finish it off with our last sponsor, Maggie Made Designs. Maggie helped us create our logo. She helped us with these mugs here. She sells T-shirts, mugs, pillows, blankets, anything that a design can be put on. She basically does it. So be sure to contact Maggie at Maggie Made Designs. Once again, we want to thank everyone for watching our very first episode of Hot Seats. Be sure to be looking out each and every week for new episodes coming out. Next week we will have one of GroupCast team members, Alex Seghini, guest starring, and we'll be looking throughout the week to figure out what our topics will be next week. And I also want to say these topics don't always have to be sports related.
Yeah, if y'all have a topic that you want us to discuss, send it in, and we can I mean, for the most part, it'll be sports, but if there's a good topic that needs to be discussed, we'll definitely
we're definitely going to talk about it. So once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great night.
Thank you.